What if you knew the exact formula for getting top dollar for your Shaw property? Well, it's happening right now in Shaw. Homeowners are cashing in as the neighborhood's market dynamics shift in their favor. With inventory levels dropping and buyer interest heating up, now might be your golden window to list. Let's explore why this opportunity exists today and how you can make the most of it before the competition becomes way too fierce. Well, hello, my name is Natalie Dean, and I am your go-to realtor associate broker in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. And I'm here to bring you all of the market trends that are happening right now so that you can make a savvy decision as you navigate the real estate world. So to understand whether the market tilts towards buyers or sellers, we need to examine inventory trends. In Shaw, inventory has decreased by 10% over the last quarter. Now, this is a significant drop that signals growing demand and diminishing supply. So, why does this matter? Well, when fewer homes are available, buyers compete more fiercely, more readily, and this drives prices up, giving sellers the leverage that they need to secure top dollar. It's always the law of supply and demand. Supply goes down, demand goes up. And as that happens, then sellers are in a position to be able to cash in and actually gain a greater price for their property. Let's talk about why Shaw is not just another DC neighborhood. It's vibrant, it's culturally rich, it's known for its historic row houses, its trending dining spots, and lively art scene. And Shaw's character is deeply rooted in its history. We know Shaw to be adjacent with Howard University. And so that also adds to its character, it adds to its charm, and it adds to its historicity. Shaw's character is deeply rooted in history, yet it's constantly evolving to attract a diverse mix of residents, young professionals, family, and savvy investors alike. The question is, how does this feed into what is happening with the Shaw real estate market? It would be good for us to actually look at some market trends and dynamics to be able to answer that question. So when we look there at the 2001 zip code, which is part of what encompasses the Shaw area, Howard University, and we look first at the supply and demand. So if we go back about 6 months, we're at that April mark, and we can see there that our demand was at 0.21, which is, and that's absorption rate. Excuse me. So we're looking at supply and demand, but we're looking at absorption rate, and we're going to look at how things have been happening overall. So what is an absorption rate? An absorption rate is based on the homes which are closing in a given area during a given time period. The higher the absorption rate, the faster homes are selling relative to supply. So that's very important to understand exactly what the definition is. So there we are in April, and we see that our absorption rate is 0.21. So we get to May, our absorption rate is 0.22. We're there in June, it drops just a little to 0.18. There in July, 0.23, and it stays ahead of the curve there in August, drops just a bit there in September, and we see it slowly creeping back up to where it was in the summer months. So again, this shows us the amount of interest in the Shaw neighborhood and the amount of buyers that are coming in and the rate of speed that buyers are coming in to the marketplace. And again, this speaks to the demand, and it also speaks to you as a seller as to what you're able to gain for your house price and how it continues to trend in an upward spiral. So if we change that metric to months of supply, and then we look again across the board, we see that our months of supply there in February was at 4.28, 4.67 in March, 5.36, a little higher, 5.97, 5.49, 5.14, and it continues to go up and down. Now, normally, you might look at this and you might say, well, then that means that really it's not trending in the seller's direction. But truly it is, because you can look at these sometimes in several different ways. And one of the ways that I like to look at this is that when we see oftentimes where our months of supply are gaining, but we also see where our house prices are increasing. What we're really seeing is that individuals are recognizing that the market is shifting in the right direction. There's a demand for houses, and so many of your neighbors are capitalizing on this trending market. Will you be one of them? What is found inside of the Shaw neighborhood? What are some of the new developments? What are some of the local highlights? Well, we would be remiss if we didn't mention Howard Theater and the revitalization that it underwent some years ago. The historic Howard Theater has recently, and recent meaning in the last 10, 12 years, undergone significant renovations. It's breathtaking. It's an iconic venue. The cultural investment is bringing in even more attention to Shaw. It's drawing visitors, potential buyers. It's drawing investors and developers who are looking to add value to properties in the area. And things like this only tend to, again, drive up your property value. So what are some of the new dining options that have been added to go along with some of these new trending spots? New restaurants like Duke's Grocery and the Dabney are adding to Shaw's already impressive culinary landscape. And these openings aren't just places to eat. They're creating community. They're creating an area that is an attraction for buyers alike. And many of our buyers are younger professionals. And so they really enjoy not only having a sense of community and not only having a great place to live, but they enjoy these trending new spots. They enjoy having all these boutiques at their fingertips. They enjoy being able to walk over to many of the local grocery stores and so forth. That adds to the cultural dynamic of living in the city. And that indeed is what many of the buyers are looking for. There are community events that are happening all the time in Shaw, like annual events like the Shaw Art Walk and the Shaw Open House. And really, it keeps the neighborhood spirit alive. It fosters a sense of community that's rare, oftentimes, in urban environments. So these elements only make Shaw more desirable, ultimately boosting your property value. So what does the declining inventory mean? It means that Shaw has less competition among sellers and more motivated buyers. So if you're considering listing your home, now might be the time to capitalize on this unique moment. Let's look one more time at just some of the metrics, the trends, again, just to get an overall view of what's happening there in the 2001 zip code. When we look and we change to market activity, our closed sales, we can see at 47 in October, and that is right on par with where we were in the summer at 49. And so we had just a bit of a dip there in the midsummer months, but to see it go right back up really, again, sparks the interest for you as a seller to see that the activity continues to escalate there in Shaw. So what's going on with the pricing trends? In October, we see that let's change it to our average sold. Our average sold price was $831,000. That's our average sold price there in the 2001 zip code. And the highest that we saw this year is 853,000, really marked really November of last year, 863,000, here 831,000. So we're down just a bit, but it would be very interesting to see what happens with our November matrix when they come out. So we're still dealing with our October numbers, but let's keep an eye on to see, well, what happened actually in November. So we're looking at all property types, but it would be good if we looked at our attached properties, and we're going to also look at let's look at our condos. We're going to look at detached because we do, in this sector of the city, we do have some detached houses. And so that's also key for many buyers, because oftentimes buyers are looking for a single family home right in the heart of the city. So that's something that is very unique to Shaw, that it offers that you're right there, literally steps from downtown DC. You're just right in the heart of the city, and yet there are detached homes. So if you have a detached home, even one that needs work, and you're thinking about it, now might be the time, because let's look. There in July, our detached homes that were fully renovated selling for $2.3 million. Key. That's very key. And so if you have a home that maybe is in need of renovation, it was at $484,000. But it would be good if you do have a detached property. Now let's look at the difference. What we would be looking at if we were actually considering listing your home for sale. Well, what was the difference in square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, even location of these detached properties from one that had actually been renovated to one that had sold in need of a complete gut and renovation? And even when we go over to the February area, 1.5 million. So again, these are few and far between. We don't have a lot of detached properties, but if you have one and you've been thinking to yourself, either I'm ready to move on, I've done all the work, I'm ready to move on and out of the city, and I want to capitalize on this market value, or you still want to capitalize on market value, but you don't want to be the one to do all of the renovations. In either spectrum, there is great gain to be had in the Shaw area. But let's not sleep on our townhomes, on our row homes. 1.23 million was the average price point there in March. For our row homes, 932,000, took just a slight dip there in April, but we see it rising again, a little over a million in August. And here we are in October for our townhomes, 1.1 million. That's the average price point. So if you've done renovations to your home, again, now might be the time for you to be able to capitalize on these rising prices happening in the Shaw area in 2001 zip code. That just gives us a beautiful overview of what is actually happening in the Shaw area. With this declining inventory, it means we have less competition among sellers, more motivated buyers. Like we said before, the infrastructure, there's many improvements that are happening with the infrastructure and in the neighborhood's vibrancy. And that's also adding to the demand. And oftentimes we see young people that come out of Howard University and they loved it so much that they want to capitalize on actually living in the neighborhood where they were educated. And so that's also a community and individuals who actually come back, who are that is their alma mater. They want to come back. They want to own property there. So you have a lot of individuals who find this area very attractive, and these rising values really does give you food for thought as a seller. Is now the time that you may want to position yourself to cash in on a very lucrative sale there in Shaw. So with inventory down by 10%, all the signs suggest a definitive yes, that it is turning to a seller's market. The scarcity of homes, coupled with neighborhood revitalization projects and trendy new openings, it's actually drawing in our buyers, and it's driving a complete transition into a seller's market over the next 3 to 4 months. And also, as we see change in government, that's also going to drive a trend towards many of our neighborhoods there in the DC area, that much more jobs within the government sector, and even as federal contractors and so forth. They want to live in different quadrants of the city, and it really depends on what attracts them. And Shaw is extremely attractive to many of those individuals who are coming in either from other parts of the US or even from other parts of the world. So for a homeowner, this means a chance to command a significant premium, but timing is critical. Stay with me as I share actionable strategies that can help to make you the most in this window of time. Have you heard about the Howard Theater renovations? How do you think these improvements will affect property values in Shaw? Do you believe that these upgrades are making Shaw a prime target for home buyers? Drop your thoughts below. Join the conversation. Get inside the comments, because your insights could spark an amazing discussion. Here's another question for you. Are you curious why homes in Shaw are increasingly selling above the listing price, even in today's market? Let's explore some of those driving factors behind this trend and what it means for you as a potential seller. So, based on the current trends, Shaw is on the cusp of a full seller's market transformation. So, if you're thinking about listing, you could benefit from this reduced inventory and strong buyer interest. So, here's a couple of tips. Consider upgrading key areas in your home: kitchens, adding outdoor features. Maybe you add a rooftop deck. Maybe you go ahead and do that work on the hardscape maybe you go ahead and finish off that driveway in the back, or add a garage if it is possible on your property. Features like this actually just increase the value of your home and also increase the demand. To be able to have off-street parking in the heart of the city is something that is a key feature for many individuals who are moving into the city, or even to be able to have a quiet oasis in a buzzing part of the metropolis is a key feature for individuals. So, when you think about inviting outdoor spaces, this adds some of the highest demand in Shaw properties right now. So these strategic upgrades, also modernizing kitchens, making sure you change out older windows so that they are energy efficient, things like that, significantly enhance your home's value and appeal. And even working on your basement and seeing whether or not you can get a certificate of occupancy by doing all of the work that's necessary. And now it is a means by which individuals who purchase the property can actually add value to the home, because they can now look at it as a rental space, a rental dwelling. So all of those things, and it doesn't have to be, exponential amount of work that's done there, but those things add an extreme amount of value to your property. Those are just some of the tips that I want to offer to you as a seller. So if you are curious about how your home fits into Shaw's evolving market and you're ready to capitalize on these unique dynamics, reach out. I'm here to provide you with the most accurate data driven insights available. And also, don't forget to hit that button that's there in the caption that allows you to get a instant valuation on your property, and then keeps you abreast whether you decide to do so quarterly, you decide to do so monthly, or you decide to do so semi-annually. It keeps you abreast as to what is going on with your property value, and even offers you the opportunity to have a full-blown comparative market analysis on your home. Like and subscribe to this channel, because there are going to be weekly updates on the DC real estate market, the Virginia real estate market, the Maryland real estate market. And if you, again, want that instant valuation on your property, click the link in the description. It only takes a minute. Have you been thinking about selling your home? Have you been wondering whether or not now is the time to capitalize on this shifting market? If you have a story about Shaw, or you're thinking about making the move, list your comments below. Join the conversation, because all of these things help everyone to stay abreast as to what's going on, and it actually makes for a very dynamic conversation. Next week, we'll explore price appreciation trends. Which DC neighborhood do you think will see the biggest price jump this year? Leave your guesses below. Thank you so much, and make it a fantastic day.